What's going on? Back again with another reaction video to Death Battle. Today we have Lex Luthor versus Doctor Doom. They did a Death Battle before with Lex Luthor versus Iron Man, and Iron Man ended up winning that one. So I would think I would lean towards Doctor Doom winning this one because I think Doctor Doom would beat Iron Man. Doctor Doom has both science and magic on his side, so it's hard to see how Lex Luthor could beat Doctor Doom when he couldn't beat Iron Man. So, but let's see what they say and see if they change my mind. Go ahead and jump into it. It's going to be a long video.
Lex Luthor, CEO of LexCorp and nemesis to Superman.
And Dr. Doom, King of Latveria and Doom of the Fantastic Four.
The intellect of these two evildoers is unmatched in their own worlds.
But what happens when the geniuses of these spiteful nerds collide? He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. In the city of Metropolis, soaring above all other structures, one can find atop the tallest building an L.
Who's the dickbag that decided to literally hang that L over everyone's head? Just the one and only Lex Luthor.
Born and raised in Smallville, Kansas, Lex's early life was complicated. His father, Lionel, was a scientist doing dubious experiments on Martian Manhunter.
When the lid was cracked on this evil science operation, asses had to be covered. So Lex and his old man got a convenient memory wipe, reducing Lionel to an alcoholic and setting Lex down a path to get away from his deadbeat dad. Right there with you, bud.
But because
A little
this is
different
comics,
than
that's
Smallville.
just Lex's story in one continuity.
In another, he's a mad scientist. In another, he's a
TV show
self-made
on it.
billionaire. And in yet another, he was friends with Superboy until Superboy made him bald. No wonder this guy's so cynical.
Regardless of which Lex we're talking about, he hates Superman. In his eyes, if Superman continues to exist, humanity will become weak and reliant on him, and ultimately perish. Supposedly.
Ever since Soups flew into town, he's been Lex's undoing.
But also his driving force in creating technology, chief among them being his war suit.
This bad
Which
boy
is the
comes
only
equipped
chance
with
he
loads
has.
of goodies. A force field, electroblasts, missiles, a chest laser, and wrist blades for all your Batman shanking needs.
Lex has utilized many different energy sources for his suits, but his newest and greatest is the Mother Box, a nigh inexhaustible piece of new god technology with which Lex can create energy beams, repair his suit, and teleport via quantum folding.
The suit can survive a planet exploding and lets old Lex go toe-to-toe with Superman himself.
Well, it is questionable if his suit is directly comparable to Superman going all out, especially with his reliance on kryptonite. But Lex has used it to fight with other DC powerhouses.
Like this orange bug man, Larfleeze, who's basically a one-man Lantern Corps. You know, that band of green boot stompers who can cross the universe in under an hour.
Knowing DC has a universe at least 100 trillion light years across, this would require a speed over 5 quintillion times the speed of light.
Or how about the time Green Lantern Kyle Rayner held back the big frickin' bang?
Much of Lex's tech is relegated to the war suit, but he does have on-hand gadgets too, such as a heat ray, robot replicas called Lexbots, and a special barrier that temporarily turns anything that
Lexbots
touches
versus
two-dimensional.
It
Doombots.
turns you 2D, huh? That sounds like a weeb's wet dream. How does that work?
It's rather simple, actually. By applying higher dimensional physics to a simple 2D grid, we can replicate and place the form of a three-dimensional object into a lower, flattened form that...
Ah, make it stop! Make it stop! Wow, I knew the old squirrel diet was a good idea. Unlike Lex's 80s tech, he's not all two-dimensional. Sure, he's had his squabbles with Superman, but after Soups died, not when he punched the gray guy when he blew up this punk Denny, he gained a newfound respect for the Man of Steel and took up his mantle. Maybe he isn't the bald psycho everyone thinks he is.
Doubtful. Lex's actions, both good and bad, tend to stem from one thing. He really, really wants to be Superman himself.
He jelly. It would explain why
wants
he
power.
made the Everyman Project, an experiment meant to turn normies into superhumans.
Unfortunately, Lex's genes were not compatible. He still went through the procedure, but even after some voluntary organ harvesting, he only had 6 months to live.
Wow, Lex really does want to be Superman, even if it kills him.
But if Lex can't be Superman, he might as well make himself the one person that super citizen has to answer to. Which is why Lex decided to, what else, run for president.
Can you imagine a president who's an evil billionaire and hates aliens? So unrealistic.
Lex was already a nihilist with few real attachments, and became all the worse when he learned he could neither be nor control Superman. Take, for example, the time he made a cure for his sister's terminal illness.
Well, that doesn't seem so bad.
And then reinfected her with that same illness seconds later, just to prove he could.
Jesus
Damn.
Christ! Never mind, he's evil. Why would anyone work for this guy?
Lex's outlook on life actually gained a big following. After traveling millions of years into the future, because comics, Lex saw a world where his goals became reality, where people quit aspiring to the impossible standards of superheroes, instead embracing who they were deep down. Selfish and greedy animals.
So he literally inspired a philosophy around being the opposite of Superman.
Apparently. Isn't it ironic, though, that even those who chose to follow Lex's ideals called this philosophy doom?
Huh. I guess Luthor was already taken. Anyways, his fanboys from the future might consider it their doom, but to Lex, his ideals are everything. And to his credit, they have seen him through some pretty heavy stuff.
Like outsmarting Brainiac, getting tortured by Joker.
And getting shot out of a helicopter by a gorilla. Don't worry, somehow he got better.
Even completely stripped of everything, standing before an almighty God, Lex Luthor will continue to defend his ideals. This harbinger of doom is truly beyond comprehension. Or so he says.
Okay, but that's not going to beat Dr. Doom.
Greatest criminal mind of our time.
At first glance, Latveria appears to be a humble nation located in the center of Europe, but within its borders may be the greatest threat the world has ever known.
That threat being the malevolent king, Dr. Doom.
But Doom did not start out as a king. Born as a Romani, Victor von Doom had a tumultuous childhood. After his mother's soul was taken by the demon Mephisto, and his father died on the run from an evil baron, Doom did what any mad scientist would do, and began making inventions.
Like his own robot replicas and Marvel's favorite retcon device, the Doombots. That sounds familiar.
The technical wonders he made, while also scamming people, were so great the Empire State University offered him a scholarship.
And so began a good old college try by Doom.
There, Doom built a device to communicate with his mother in the underworld. But because of a miscalculation that may or may not be thanks to the thing, it blew up in his face. Literally.
It's okay, though. After the explosion gave him a nasty scar, Doom ventured to Tibet, where some monks did him a solid and helped him build a suit of armor.
Made from a mastery of science and mysticism, Doom's titanium armor goes beyond the wonders of ordinary technology and into the absurd.
It's the Swiss Army knife of power armors, complete with electrical blast, a device that scrambles brain neurons, and a laser staff that doubles as a technovirus.
At full power, the suit can break through an adamantine coffin, and allegedly contains pieces of the cross that Jesus Christ himself was crucified on.
Just in case a pesky Dracula comes your way. Which he did. With this suit, Doom easily conquered Latveria and overthrew the Baron who gave him so much trouble years back. Aha! Take that, asshole!
Seeing how prosperous his rule was, Doom thought if he could make Latveria better by conquering it, why not make the whole world better by conquering it?
Well, I mean, a Panther God did say he should. Too bad he was always stopped by the Fantastic Four.
And their leader, Reed Richards, also known as Mr. Fantastic.
To put it lightly, Doom frickin' hates him. One time, when Doom was being pulled into hell, rather than try to escape eternal torment, all he wanted to do was burn and scar Reed's face.
To Doom, Reed Richards is a man of unquenchable vanity and unmitigated arrogance, consumed by his own ego at the cost of everyone around him.
Yeah, I think Doom might be projecting a bit there.
Though he has failed many times to conquer the world, Doom certainly has the arsenal to do so.
Antimatter guns, bombs that transmute things to chrome, a molecular expander that turns tiny particles into boulders, and time shift bombs that'll send you several seconds into the past.
But his most interesting gadget is the Cosmic Power Siphon. While not particularly fashionable, at least before he implemented it into his suit, the siphon has absorbed and stolen the powers of numerous cosmic entities.
You might be asking, if Doom
Yeah, I'm
has all
thinking
these
Doom.
gadgets, why doesn't he use them more
They
often?
haven't changed
Well,
my
in
mind.
his own words, Doom's reasons are his own. Do not question them.
But Doom is more than just a scientist. He's also a magician. In fact, a contender for Sorcerer Supreme. As such, he can employ all manner of magic spells. Barriers, teleportation, mystical energy blasts, etc.
And if he ever wants to Freaky Friday a foe, he can use a mind swap technique he took from the Ovoids to switch bodies.
Like this.
Oh, how do you walk with these scrawny legs? This one isn't even a gun.
This is looking like less and less of a matchup to me
I'm not
once
drunk.
as they
Tell me-
explain all this.
Change us back.
It should come as no surprise that a multi-classing nerd like Doom has taken on some of Marvel's toughest heroes.
He's faster than Reed Richards, who reacted to interstellar beams fired by
Did he
Galactus.
just throw Thor's
and has even
hammer?
deflected Thor's hammer.
The same hammer that flew Thor across the universe in seconds.
Knowing Marvel's universe has a diameter of at least 1
Oh, he
trillion light
deflected it,
years,
huh?
Mjolnir must have been moving over 2 quintillion times the speed of light.
And that's not even getting into Doom's battles with the Green Universe Clapper, the Hulk.
Or the no-holds-barred punch he took from Sentry with only 7% of his suit's power left.
With so much tech and magic, it's a wonder Doom ever loses.
Well, for all his achievements, Doom does have one insurmountable weakness. Squirrels.
I knew it! Nobody's a match for those little bastards but me. But hey, as long as he stays on Bucktooth's good side, he should be alright.
He also has a bad habit of just losing godlike power at the worst of times.
Like when his control over the Power Cosmic was taken by a plot-convenient cosmic energy-stealing super airplane.
Still, Doom persevered and became the God Emperor of everything. Until Mr. Fantastic stole his powers away.
Oh boy, if Doom already hated Reed, what did he think of him after that?
Surprisingly, Doom's time as a god caused an epiphany of sorts. He looked back on his actions, his ego finally shattered, and in his reflection was left with a desire to fix his ways.
So he took up the role of Iron Man of all people, stopped being so world-conquering,
he is
and became
Iron
a good guy.
Just for a little bit, don't worry, he was back to being a maniacal would-be conqueror soon enough.
Comic book status quo.
It seems a literal multiverse-scale intervention couldn't keep Doom from being Doom.
Your plan to destroy them has failed, Master. Failed. Dr. Doom does not fail.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
But first, if you want to be as bold and confident as Lex and Doom, try out Blue Chew.
Alright, so, yeah, I'm going with Dr. Doom, so, that's my pick for this one. The explanation just made me more so think Dr. Doom should easily win this, so.
Oh, a visitor?
Mr. Luthor, your company has invaluable resources for the people of Latveria. I will be seizing them.
Latveria? What an exquisite place to start a corporatocracy.
So, I'm assuming that's a Doom bot, because why would the real Dr. Doom go on an errand?
A mechanical replica.
It's called a Lexbot, you knuckle-dragging buffoon.
Its design is rather ingenious. Not as ingenious as mine, of course. But enough talk. Let us end these charades.
With pleasure.
What is this confounded contraption?
Two-dimensional morphographic technology. I haven't perfected it, but it's more than enough to exterminate an imbecile like you.
Back in time.
Enough to exterminate an imbecile like you.
What? Fool! You fell for my time shift ball. Now, foot dives. Foot dives. Foot dives. Foot What a farce. Impossible.
Impossible. That word has no meaning for someone like me. What about you?
That box. It's marvelous. And wasted on your incompetence. Pitiful. What kind of a man are you?
A Superman.
Oh, don't tell me. They ain't say it was a Superman Lex Luthor versus Doctor Doom.
Still hiding behind this hideous mask, Tin Man? Let's
That a
show
Doom
you
bot?
true face the light of day!
Don't you see it? That
Oh, yes, I
mask is my true face. This power, it's like that of the gods. Beneath me.
KO! I've heard of handing someone the L, but never pinning him to it.
Having a slight speed advantage and a stronger suit by most measures, Lex was able to hold his own with Doom for a time.
And sure, Lex could counter some of Doom's arsenal.
They just like
but
killing
he
Lex
couldn't defend
Luthor,
against
apparently.
being transmuted to chrome, being blasted with antimatter, or getting his nerves scrambled from the inside.
What's more, Lex's mind has been swapped before, once with Superman, funnily enough.
Meaning if things got desperate, there was nothing to stop Doom from pulling a Captain Ginyu on Lex and swapping their minds.
Lex's mother box was certainly a powerful device, but he never quite mastered all of its potential. Not to mention, Doom's ace in the hole, the cosmic power siphon, has drained and stolen similar energy sources time and time again.
Galactus, Silver Surfer, and even the friggin' Beyonder. Yeah, I know, this mulleted doofus doesn't look like much, but he apparently has millions of times the power of the entire Marvel multiverse. And the siphon took all of it! There's no way the Mother Bugs could stand up to a device like that.
Thus, it was only a question of if Doom could bide his time before turning the tables on Lex.
And given all the beatdowns he's survived from Marvel heavy hitters like Hulk and Sentry, I'd say Doom had that time.
Lex's tech was an impressive challenge that had the stats to contend with Doom, but against Doom's bewildering gadgets, magical trickery, and power-stealing
Again, if
siphon,
he couldn't beat
the
Iron Man,
advantage
how
was
he
in
was
the
going to beat
Doctor's
Doctor
court.
Doom?
The King of Latveria claimed his victory. Hopefully Lex isn't a sore Luthor.
The winner is Dr. Doom.
I think that was
Thanks
an
for
easy
watching this
one to
episode of
pick.
Death Battle. Come back next week to see previews of our upcoming matchups. If you want to watch more stuff, you can click the boxes right around here, and you can always pick up some DB merch at store.roosterteeth.com.
Let's see. Oh, Tekken. Oh, okay. That'll be interesting. So yeah, I was right. There's really, not much to say there. It's, before the match, it seemed likely to be Doctor Doom. Middle, but when they did the explanation, it still felt like Doctor Doom. And in the match, it was Doctor Doom. So yeah, that was a good one, but I think that one was pretty predictable as far as the outcome. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you guys later. Peace out.
遊ぶサボり 夜を吐き出し